Hey guys, welcome back to another clip of Schach-manuel-lernen. Today with the third round of the Engadiner Pfingstopen. So after I scored 2 out of 2, I played against an opponent that was quite similar in rating points like me. He was like 10 years younger, so it's always a bit of a challenge. I played with the black pieces and I faced not really theoretical opening. That's why I will just go a bit through. But still, he outplayed me a bit because I played now knight to d7. And the problem was like he can just capture here, which happened in the game. And now it looks like, well, it's quite even or quite symmetrical, the position. But it's in the detail. Like this knight is on c3 and this knight is on d7. And the knight on d7 is completely misplaced because his knight is attacking. He also has a threat to have this maneuver later. And my knight just is, blocking the bishop. And even if he goes there, he doesn't really have a future beside that. So that's why knight to d7 was already a small inaccuracy. And because of that, I suffered in the next moves like bishop f4, knight to b6, knight to e5. Now he has some pressure here. a6, a4, e6. And it was a compromise I had to do. I know my bishop is now bad, but okay. So a5, knight to d7, and after queen to d2, I was quite happy that I could trade the knight. And I was even more surprised that he captured with the bishop, because I thought if he captures with the pawn, it will give him some space advantage, and it doesn't allow to trade a lot of pieces. So bishop d7, rook c1, rook c8, e3, bishop c6, and now I'm already quite happy when we looked back how my position was like 8 moves ago. Then he decided to give up the bishop pair, which I neither really understood, but okay. So I recaptured bishop f1, bishop e7. My idea is now to go for bishop b4 and to grab at the right moment this pawn, and then to open the center for the bishop pair. That's why he played knight to e2, queen d7, knight f4, bishop b5. Here my plan was if he captures, I capture, which also happened in the game, and now I'm quite happy with bishop b4 later. That's why he played knight to d3 to stop this move, rook c4, I provoke b3, capture, and then I win the b3 pawn. However, it's not so clear because he has knight to c5 and he attacks the queen, he attacks the pawn, and in the right moment he can also play rook b1 and attacks here. That's the reason why I captured there, and after recapture I'm a pawn up, but the question is how much value is this pawn on b7? That's why I got rid of it, b6, capture, capture. And now he can block the a6 pawn with the queen and rook. So I wanted to support, and then he blocks it. And now the question is how we make progress. Well, if we can trade the queens, it will make a lot of stuff easier. If we trade the rooks, it also makes stuff easier, but it's harder to do. So I searched for a plan and I came up with the idea of king g7, a plan that the computer told me is rook c8. I didn't consider it. He can capture, and after check, I didn't see like queen b5. And then I can infiltrate into white's position, and afterwards I have some attacking chances. Instead I played king g7, king g2, h6. He played h4. That was a bit provocation, like it was not necessary for him. He could also remain, mirrored, like everything here is at the same squares. But okay, he played h4. Then I played g5, capture, capture, g4. And now the huge difference is we created now an additional open file, which I wanted to use with queen to d6. The idea is quite simple. I want to play rook h8 and then infiltrate with the queen in the white's position. However, here's the move order really important. So rook h8 would be much more precise. We will see now why, like he can capture queen c7 and he can't stop that we infiltrate here. So let's say rook a8, a check, and then rook h4, attacking this pawn, queen, queen h2, and a checkmate, for instance, just for demonstrating. So the difference is I played first queen to d6, but now he has queen a3. It's a nice counter move because now rook h8 of course doesn't work because then we will lose the queen. And here I was a bit too greedy, like I just should have traded the queen and then playing this endgame with zero risk. But I thought, okay, I keep the queens on the board. Then he went back, queen c6. But now suddenly he has queen to d2, and I need to be careful that he doesn't come with e4, queen g5. That's why I played f6. The downside of f6 is that this diagonal got weak, and that's what he tried to get advantage of it. And here, yeah, I traded the queens, and yeah, he didn't want it, so we played a couple of more moves. And here, we reached move 41. Like my 40th move was queen to b5. I went off the board, then I came back, and then I realized, okay, you can just trade off the queen and force a draw. He should have played rook to b6. If I want to keep this pawn here alive, I need to play rook a5. But then he can just capture here, and yeah, pawns are equal. If I try to run, he will play this one, and then he's even a bit more active with his pieces. So here I would have played king f7, he captures, and yeah, it's just a draw. However, he played a bit too fast. He also told me that after the game, that he just grabbed the pawn. But now I can play rook b7, and now suddenly I can support my pawn. So he went to stop the pawn as early as possible. Technically, it's still a draw. Of course, with computer, yeah. So f3, king f6. I want to bring my king close to the pawn. He wants the same. I captured king e6, king e2, d6, d3. Now I played c6 with the idea, if he plays this one, I can play this. But it also would be a draw with move repetition. He played e4, and e4 is another inaccuracy because I can capture and then play king to d6, what I played, or even a bit better, rook b5. Because now he always has the problem, he can't really move the rook, and as soon as he moves the king now, I can come closer with my king. And in this position, we have the problem for white that, let's say, after this, he can't capture because then at the end, the pawn endgame will be lost. That's why this is not possible. I played king d6. The idea is basically the same. King d3. I don't show you the entire variation with king f5 because it's quite complicated and it goes a bit too deep. King d6, he went back, and now we reach the same position. I make a waiting move, rook to b8, and after king to d3, I can play rook b4. And after king c3, I captured, which was for me the only way to win, but apparently it's a mistake because of what followed. Like here, I'm forced to move the rook because I want to move with the pawn. And yeah, if I go somewhere here or here, it doesn't really help. The king will come closer. So I fought rook f4 to cut off the king. But here, for me, it was not really understandable why he didn't see it. Like, you can give a check, and after that, it's a well-known draw when you capture. Because when I capture with the pawn, you have this position where the white king is blocking the black pawn. And if I capture with the king, then we have the same issue that, yeah, he is right in time to hold everything. So quite easy to find. But that's why also an important lesson always for all of you guys, play until the end. Everyone makes mistakes and not finding the right moves, especially like in this case when you play already 4 hours. And after rook b8 it's lost because I can put my king in safety to g4, and now I will make the Philidor position, which is moving with the pawn forward up until I reach g2. And now after rook to g8, I can play rook e5, and now we have so-called building a bridge. Like the king will move out, making a bridge with the rook, and then the transformation to a queen, the promoting is unstoppable. So king f2, king g3, king f3, and then he gave a check, and at the same time he resigned after king to g4. Because there's no way of stopping this pawn, and then it's an easy win. So it was a huge and also very important win for me after 77 moves and what was it, like 4.5 hours of playing. My opponent missed several chances of making a draw, but it shows one more the fighting spirit that you need and that you also need to train. So I continued my perfect run with 3 out of 3, and I was looking forward for the 4th round because the air is always getting thinner the better you perform. So I wish you a wonderful weekend, guys. Enjoy your own chess games and stay healthy.